Here's your morning mobility routine. So what makes this morning mobility focused? We're focusing on the spine, okay? The hips to the shoulders, including the hips and the shoulders. This is what stiffens up when you're sleeping. You wake up, this is what's tight. So what we focus on is what's gonna make you feel better for the rest of the day. Let's get started. So we're gonna get down onto your hands and knees, flex and extend through the spine. I want you to focus on your breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. I want you to do some range finding, or find these end range of motion. So I want to find high point here in the flexion or the cat, cow, and then low point here with the spine and the extension. In through the nose, out through the mouth. T-spine rotations. Arm comes up, push the other hand into the ground. Arm comes up, other hand in to the ground. So important here, as I'm lifting that arm, I'm rotating the shoulder, thumb comes back, and then I'm simultaneously pushing into the ground. Create some tension. Keep the breathing going. It's not so important at what point in these movements, at least, that you're breathing. It's just that you're continually in through the nose and out through the mouth. It's going to allow you to get to those extended ranges that you wouldn't otherwise be able to get into. 2 and 1. Now we're going to go into a child's pose rock, butt down towards the heels, fingers out front, palms down onto the ground. Separate the fingers as much as you can, moving left to right. Feeling that stretch through the lats while simultaneously lengthening the spine. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Now let's bring the hips forwards. I'm keeping the chin tucked. Spine stays rounded, and then I'm going to let the hips fall down to some loaded extension. Allow those fingers to point out, point the toes, and then I'm going to lower my hips down onto one side, bias the one side, rotate, lower the hips on the other side. Bias the other side. Do that one more time, a little bit quicker. Child's pose rock, over and back. Separate the fingers as much as you can. Get the butt down to the heels. Walk those fingers forwards. And then inhale, keep that chin tucked. Round the spine. Open up the fingers. Allow this weight to come into the shoulder blades, into the spine, not into the wrists. Over and back. Come onto your butt. Go into some hip wipers. So I want you to get your hands flat on the ground, fingers pointing back. Separate the chest by squeezing the shoulder blade together, pushing the chest up into the ceiling. You're gonna drop the knees down, lift the knees up, and bring them down at the same time. Keep your chest, chin pointing forwards. If you feel like you start sliding away, bring those heels a little bit closer to the body. Again, walking out those elbows, feel a stretch through the biceps. Squeeze those shoulder blades together, press the chest up to the ceiling. And 3, 2, and 1. We're gonna stay in this 90-90 position. So now we're going to reach, palm comes up, and then we come up to the top. We're gonna go cross-legged, hinge. We'll stretch on the outside of the hips, and I switch legs. Arm down the ground, get that 90-90 position, reach, palm is up. Exhale on the way down here. Inhale on the way up, and switch. Exhale as we lengthen. Inhale as you come up. Exhale as you stretch. Okay, so try and get the switch from leg to leg a little bit smoother. I'll demo on the next side. A little bit of that cross-legged stretch. First, getting into the 90-90, up nice and tall. Exhale on the way down, palm is up. So what I mean by smooth is this back leg comes up, over into the cross-legged position without too much manipulation of the torso. Reach. Two more. Palm is up, reach. Feel that stretch to the outside of the hips, lengthen the spine. Last one, nice and smooth. Exhale, coming back up to center. And now we're gonna go into a frog position. So knees out, nice and wide. Gentle pulse back. Feel that stretch evenly through left and right hip. Okay, adjust your feet where you need to, adjust your knees where you need to find that even stretch. Okay, hands are out front. Separate the fingers. Okay, we're just calibrating here, finding that center line. Some of you may be tighter on one side than the other. Okay, use these last couple pulses to adjust. Another 3, 2, 1. We're gonna add internal rotation. So I'm gonna get that trail leg to rotate, adjust the arms to allow for balance, trail leg to rotate. As I'm doing this, you can get internal rotation through the hip, a little stretch through the hip flexor. Inhale back, exhale forwards. Inhale back. And some of these faster paced ones, when you work on the breath work timing here, increases the heart rate a little bit. You'll feel a little bit warmer. Part of the routine. Hard to do while talking, so you should be doing it while listening and moving. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, we're gonna go into a single arm or single leg frog rotation here. So I'm going to go from the inside of the foot, get a nice even length stretch. So I don't want just one particular area feeling the stretch, adjust where you need to, and then as I sink back, I'm pivoting onto the heel, toes come up, use my hands, help balance. Inhale and exhale, you come down. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. Okay, a lot of the tension through the groin. Okay, it gets tight if you're sitting a lot. This can help. By loosening this up, help loosen up the spine. Okay, so when we say the focus is on the spine and we look at these hips and shoulders, and right now I've been focusing on the hips. Okay, the spine can't move freely if it's two focal points where it's attached at the top and the bottom, and not so much the head, but I want to focus on the shoulders, but the hips especially, 2 and 1, if they are glued, the spine will not move as freely as it should be able to. All right, other side. Find that even position, even stretch, full length, and then pulse. Exhale down, inhale up. Exhale down, inhale up. Three, 2, and 1. All right, flip onto your back. Start off with our iron cross. So I want to get palms up, shoulders down the ground. I want to alternate legs sweeping across. Okay, so note the term sweep versus come up kick. I don't want to come up and over. I want to sweep like so. Sweep like so. Okay, let's create some length down the hamstring. And then by lengthening through the hamstring and pinning the shoulder, okay, we're also allowing that spine to uncoil, coil back up on the other side. 4, 3, 2, 1. Helps with the rotation. Scorpion, same idea. On your stomach, palms flat on the ground. I want to keep the shoulder down as much as I can. Keep the hands as close to the same position as they are from the start to finish. Okay, this focuses more on the spine when you do it this way. If your hands are sliding too much, okay, then we get a little bit more into the chest, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I want you to focus on the spine here because we're gonna get to the pecs in a minute. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Push-up position here. And we're gonna go into some pedal outs. So we go down dog. Press the heels down into the ground. Okay, pedaling out. As you get a comfortable tempo here, I want you to think about pushing the opposite arm into the ground. So if I push my left heel into the ground, push my right hand. Okay, if I put my right heel into the ground, I push my left hand. Opposite arm, opposite leg, straighten out the knee. Okay, lengthening through the spine. Another 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, loaded beast. So knees are off the ground, sort of an active child's pose position. And I'm going to step forwards, get down into a lizard position. So this is our lunge position. What I want you to focus on is the knee over top of the pinky toes. I want to get as far forward as possible. Adjust your back knee where you need to get there. Tripod foot, front foot. So I've got my heel, big toe, little toe firmly planted in the ground, and I've got a good arch here. All we're going to do, we're going to rock. I'm going to look over the opposite shoulder from the knee and then look up. And as I do this, I'm creating a little space through the pelvis on this side. Get a hip joint, allowing that spine to rotate a little bit more freely. On the left side here, I've got my left foot forwards. Helps open up that SI joint a little bit more, especially if it's sticking or it's been stuck for you runners, but definitely all of you sitters. Just keep the breathing going. You don't need to breathe on every rotation as far as inhale, exhale goes. Probably start to hyperventilate. But if you want to get a little bit warmer, okay, and you can control it, you can. We'll go like this. Okay, or find a nice comfortable breathing position, or tempo, I should say. 2, 1. We're gonna go back in the loaded beast. Okay, it's that active child's pose, and then step forwards to the other side. Okay, let's find our position here. So you can see from a different angle, my knee is over top of the toes and my heel's on the ground. So don't let that heel come up. If you feel too much of a stretch or your knee is coming back, move your back heel forwards. Find this position. And you look over the opposite shoulder and then look up, over and up. Nice and gentle in the first few as you loosen up. Basically shimmying here, jockeying some space. For those of you who followed my mobility routines before, I don't necessarily make left and right equal. Okay, I am going based on feel. So for instance, bringing this to your attention now because I can feel my right groin, my right hip tighter than my left. So I'll probably spend a few more seconds on this side than I did the other. And I encourage all of you, once you start getting comfortable with these routines, and especially those of you who've been doing these with me for a while, okay, stay on the one side longer if you know it's tighter. 3, 2, and 1. Good. All right, standing up. So shoulders, let's go back and forth with the arms. The importance here is for posture. Okay, hips and low spine, we want to work on cleaning that up so that you get up, it's not quite as stiff, especially if you're sitting all day. But shoulders, we want to work on posture. We want to work on your technique, keeping the shoulder blades strong. If you keep those shoulder blades engaged more throughout the day, you're going to be less protruding with the chin forwards. Palms up, reach to the opposite shoulder blade, come back up, center, reach to the opposite shoulder blade. Notice how my thumbs are pointing back. I'm locking out the elbows, rotating. So what do the shoulders have to do here? The front of the shoulders have to do with posture. Well, if you've got good internal rotation, which is what we're working on right now with the shoulders, okay, then your shoulders are less likely to be forwards. There's less resistance coming forwards. 3, 2, 1. And then you're going to keep both hands behind your back. I want you to come up as high as you can on the back. And then you're going to come to a wall. I'm going to put my elbow, just the elbow on the side of that wall, door frame, whatever it is. I'm going to push gently and then pick up the slack. I'm going to push gently, the elbow, pick up the slack. Push the elbow, pick up the slack. A little space. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Other side. Okay, especially those of you that have trouble, okay, push gently. Pick up the slack. So when I say pick up the slack, I lean forward so I get more of a stretch, and then I push the elbow. 4, 3, 2, 1, and good. Okay, so I'm working on internal rotation. So if your posture, if your shoulders roll forwards, your chin comes forwards, by loosening up these shoulders, the shoulders don't then also pull the head. Next part to this, alternating pec opener. So I'm gonna go, this one's good in a door frame or a wall. I'm getting into a position where I've got my elbow at least ear height. It's important that we get the arm, it's not completely straight overhead. Okay, because we want to focus on the chest, the pecs. When they are tight, pull the shoulders forward. So internal rotation of the shoulders. Okay, doesn't allow them to really rotate back into a good posture, but the pecs also pull the shoulders forwards, which make it tight and tough for you to keep the shoulder blades back. So 6, alternating here, I'm using a combination of my body weight and gently pushing in with the hand. 4, 3, 2, 1, and good there. Next part, palms are up. I want to reach with my chin towards the side where the palm is up, and then alternate. Reach with my chin, the palms up. Notice how I'm alternating, one palm up, one palm down, lengthening through the shoulders, but also I'm starting to get a little bit more neck rotation, which we're going to be focusing on a little more. Next, continue that spine. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Okay. And of course, wouldn't be a little morning routine without some squatting. So I'm going to get my heels, I've got this mat behind me, heels raised in a second, but first I'm going to sink down to my passive squat or my back catcher position, heels off the ground, and I'm just going to pedal out. So I want to pedal the heels out, one heel comes down, one comes up. For those of you that can't yet do this in a comfortable position, okay, and it's obviously relative, you can hold on to something, a couch, chair leg, or table leg, whatever it is to hold yourself up. But there's 2 types of people in this position. Person, if you're having trouble. Person 1, if you feel like you can't even get into this position while holding on to something, the good news is it's fixable, okay, fairly in the short term. It's your hips. Your hips are not used to being in this position. All right, so doing more of these squats, more of this routine, in fact, will help. Consistency is your biggest problem. If you're not doing it often, you're not getting down low, then that is what's causing the inability for you to get down here. But if you start doing more of this over time, it will fix itself faster. Person number 2, you can get down here, your hips are comfortable, relatively speaking, but you feel like you're going to fall backwards, okay? You are an ankle problem. This takes a little bit more time and more engagement to help fix, but it also is possible. Okay, so now I'm going to sit down low into this squat position. This is where if you're holding on to something, you can pull yourself forwards. Okay, by working on, we're not going to be focusing on the ankles today, but your focus is on loosening up ankles and increasing the range of motion, or getting more, it's called dorsiflexion, toes up to the shins. And in doing so, it's like being in that back catcher position where then you can get your torso more vertical, and this becomes a little bit more comfortable. All right, if you've got a heel wedge, which is what I've done with the mat behind me, I'm gonna put those onto the wedge. If not, hold on to whatever object you have in front of you, or if you've got great mobility, just sink down low. I'm gonna leverage my elbows inside my knees. I'm gonna reach up with one arm, alternate, reach up with the other arm, alternate. Up and over, up and over. 4, 3, 2, 1. Standing up, shaking it out. Let's go through 5 squats. Doing 2 with the heels raised, 3 without. 3, 2, and 1. Nice. So, morning mobility. Already feel better. It's going to help you start your day if you don't have time to do a full workout in the morning. Something you can do midday because you're tight. Something you do on the weekends because it's active recovery. Maybe even when you're on vacation. But do this in the morning. Feel better for the rest of the day. See you next one.